Hey everyone, hopefully you're having a good day. My name's Andy. My channel is Finding Value. Today we're going to do our daily technical analysis of commodities. I'll take a look at the dollar, the 10-year yield, 30-year yield, precious metals, work our way into different commodities that I follow, and I'll give you my financial opinion on all this. So let's dive right in, show you what I'm seeing, and give you my opinions on it. The DXY heading quite a bit lower today, down 1%. We're down to 112. The peak up here was about 114. We are playing with this resistance support line that comes across here that started in the early 1990s. And we're right there. And are we going to turn back down and head a lower DXY? I think eventually that will be the case. The timing of this, I'm not sure if it's going to be within the next 6 months or so, because I still think there's a lot of strain going on over in currencies outside of the dollar, where the dollar could strengthen against those currencies over the next 6 months or so. But we'll see. But right now, we are seeing a weakening dollar. It does look like it wants to top out and turn lower here, though. It sure does. And then with the yields, the 10-year yield slightly higher, but basically flat today, 0.12%. And then the 30-year yield is definitely higher. Whenever the 30-year outpaces the 10-year, it seems like that curve is normalizing. Either they're going down and the 10-year is going down faster, or they're going up and the 30-year is going up faster. That gold seems to like that. And looking at TLT, which is the 20-year bond prices, that is definitely getting hit today. That momentum is continuing lower. Looks pretty horrible for bond prices at this moment. So yields are a little bit higher, dollars lower, and bond prices are lower. The CRB index heading a little bit lower. Again, this mainly tracks energy. We did see a little bit of energy sideways action is what I'll call it. So the CRB index slightly lower today, down 0.5%. Hopefully we can get this thing to come up here quickly. We're right on that support level. And even so, I'm still a bull long-term on this, either way, what we do here. But we're right on support. Looking at gold, gold is getting a little bit of buying pressure today. Not a ton. It didn't finish strong. Are we going to get to where this circle is, right where this bottom is? It's possible. This is basically an inverted bloody nose to some extent. And we might have further downside to go in the near term, possibly. Silver also right at support. We've got platinum heading a little bit higher. We do have a little wick at the top, but still looking better than the others. I like platinum in the way that it looks the best. XEU to gold ratio is heading higher a little bit, still in this sideways expanding wedge formation. And we are still in an overall downtrend where we have to break this downtrend line to seek happiness for the gold and silver mining shareholders. So looking at SILJ, yep, we are up a little bit today. It did outperform gold and all those other ones, up 2.92%, right above the support level. And then GDX is also basically moving sideways between a support resistance level. And if you kind of zoom out, it's just a lot of trading that's happened through this area where we could find good support. Crude oil heading a little bit lower to flat. I mean, somewhere in that range there. We've broken out of this downtrend, so that's a positive, but we have not broken out of this resistance line, which runs through this guy here. What I want to see is a break back above it, and we continue. But there is the possibility that we bounce our head and we come back and retest the 75 level a couple of times. Basically, a larger consolidation pattern moving sideways is a possibility for a little while. Natural gas heading lower. It's not that unexpected. It's not unexpected. It's expected that this comes back down. We still have Freeport closed. 85% comes back online in November, late November. So I do think that this is going to come back to its original position at about 550. Then we'll see what happens there. We probably still have another month or so to go with natural gas kind of bottoming out here. The Freeport LNG terminal is still down. XOP, we can see some buying pressure in it today, 2.38%. We are still below that resistance level where we've traded a couple of times before. We back out, and we've got larger support resistance levels that we are stuck between. We've got a resistance level at 177. We've got nice support at 102. So we're between those two levels, and I do think that we'll grind sideways for a little bit longer before I think we head higher late 2022, early 2023. We've got OIH also getting some buying pressure. There are some companies that look really good, that look like they're about to break and have broken out in the energy service sectors. And these things are looking good. We are squeezing up to the end here. If we look at a logarithmic, we're basically playing with the resistance line right now. So that looks good for OIH. Uranium, the futures pricing is moving on higher, up 0.1%. This does look good to move higher, especially if the overall markets head higher with us. These are tied to the overall market, uranium is, and it's just amplifying the move. As the overall markets go up, this goes up a lot. As they go down, this goes down less. So it's just amplifying the direction of the move in the way that we want it to move, which is up. The Sprott Physical Uranium Trust is looking really good here. We're at 1750. We want to break above 18. We want to get above 1850 and close above there for a month. We want to close the month out above this and hold above it for a month or two to get moving. It looks like we're trying to make that run at it. This is the kind of bigger picture view. 1850 is where we want to close and get above, and that's that resistance line here. Then we could see maybe potentially a big run higher after we get above it and close above it for a little while. URNM also seeing some buying pressure today, up 5%. We have the bullish engulfing a couple of days ago, the large down day. We've got a battle going between the markets here. But it does look good. It does look like we might take a shot here at breaking this kind of downtrend line and moving on higher. CCJ at support. That was that big day where they came out and said that they were going to raise capital, and we're right on support right now. But overall, the overall sector looks pretty solid. TAN also getting a little bit of buying pressure today. We are at that support level here. We could come back and test this support level again at $49. That is a possibility. And remember, the way that this thing falls is usually the way this thing goes back up. So it's a high likelihood we could hit 49 before moving on up. It was looking good for a breakout here, but it looks like it wants to go lower in the short term. If it transpires that way. Let me look at the dailies here real quick. This is a reversal candlestick here, bullish piercing, so we could head higher. And I say could, guys, because it's all statistical probabilities on the short term. This isn't like looking at a long-term chart. In the short term, this thing's going to fling up and down 30, 40, 50%. And people who say, oh, I could time this stuff, good luck with that. Good luck with that. In the short term. Global copper miners, big bullish engulfing here. Generally, that is an indication for a move higher, but we've got a bearish piercing right next to it, which means that the buyers and sellers are battling it out right at this resistance support level. CRB to S&P 500, continuing its move higher on the longer term. Short term, we could see some selling pressure where the S&P 500 outperforms the commodity index in the short term. We've got REMX moving higher right at support resistance. We got to break through that and get moving. We've got lithium, global lithium, right at support underneath us. Still looking okay at this time. We've got the S&P 500 firming up today. Which way is this thing going to go? Good question there, guys. Good question. We've got support right here. We're right on that support level. This was a shot back up to that support level, and we'll see if that support level holds. That's where we're at. NASDAQ is also doing the same thing, support level here. It's holding at this time, and we'll see if it holds. And there's that big kind of momentum down into it. EEM with the weaker dollar is moving on higher today, so that looks a lot better with the weaker dollar. We've got XHB also kind of moving sideways here. We're still above support. All the critical levels are still good. We've broken the downtrend, so XHB doesn't look too bad. Lumber's also moving on higher. That looks like it wants to break and move higher. So that's looking really good for lumber. We've got cocoa futures heading down a little bit. Again, we're still above the support level. We've got wheat heading a little bit lower. That looks like it wants to continue lower for wheat with the larger selling pressure and not much of a bounce. Soybeans still looks like we want to go lower in soybeans. We've got a large down candlestick engulfing everything before it, or I should say after it. That's usually continuation pattern lower. Corn still looking good for a move higher. We've got larger candlesticks to the upside than the down candlesticks. So that makes me think that we are going to continue higher. And then we've got copper just moving sideways. I think that we have momentum lower, sideways, and I think eventually we'll break on up to put in a bottom at some point. Mu is also moving on higher. We've got the broken down trend line. We've done kind of that retest move, and now we're just looking for buying pressure. But I will say there is still the possibility, if the sellers step in here, to put it down to $70 a share. There is that possibility still there on a longer time frame. We've got these large monthly sell-off candlesticks, and the up candlesticks are not as strong as the down movements. Aluminum, right at support. We're right there at support, and that support line's holding at this moment. And then the Baltic Dry Index is slightly higher today, and we're right at support. So again, guys, I don't trade the short term. I play the long-term game. And right now, if I were to look at it, I'd say uranium looks the strongest of all the commodities right now. It looks like it's about to outperform, I would say, most everything. If we get a bounce in the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ, we get a weaker dollar, and we see yields kind of just flat, kind of flatten out here, I think uranium's going to show us what it's got at some point here. So I think uranium, to me, looks probably the bullish of them all. If I were to just kind of look at some of the ratios for URNM, they are all drastically outperforming. They have broken out of the patterns. They're ready to run here. We've got URNM versus natural gas. That's starting to move on up. So I think uranium's going to outperform natural gas. URNM, XOP, I think uranium's probably going to start to outperform. You can look at some of these on a daily candlestick. That looks a bullish engulfing, ready to go higher. Let's get off logarithmic there. URNM versus, let me see what this one is, platinum. I think we're going to see an outperformance of URNM versus platinum. Basically, URNM's about to outperform everything, I think. And it's looking strong against commodities, right against that resistance level. We're about to break higher. We've got URNM versus OIH, starting to put in a little bit of bullishness there. That's that pattern I like too. It's getting bullish against REMX, and it's getting bullish against copper. So we're seeing uranium start to outperform everything. I think that's going to be a good spot to be. And if you guys are interested, obviously I got my uranium companies posted on the website over here, finding-value.com, platinum membership. You can see all my picks and which companies I'm overweight in and that are in my portfolio, just at all, I should say. So that's what I've got for today, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed the content. Give me a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and we'll catch you next time. This is Finding Value.